You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony.
Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. If you're just joining us, we are broadcasting live from the Concierge Landscape Studios and brought to you this second hour also by Extreme Exteriors. And we're going to be talking about Asphalt 101 in a moment with a gentleman who has his BS in, that would be for bituminous studies, but we, Mr. Mike Peacock. But before we do, I'd like to just let our listeners know in the second hour, we have a free subscription we'd love to give you. It's called What's New. A lot of the topics we cover on What's New are covered in that newsletter and in further detail. All you have to do is give us a call at New Concepts during the week at 952-922-2500. Ask for Courtney, and she'll make sure that you start receiving your subscription. We've got over 18,000 subscribers now.
Wow.
And for folks wanting to talk to Professor Bituminous here in just a few moments, or other questions.
If you have questions about your asphalt, give us a call, 651-289-4488.
And with that, we want to welcome on Where You Live with Gene and Tony, Mike Peacock with Minnesota Asphalt. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Gene. Good morning, Tony.
Hi, Mike. Mike, you and I go back a long way, but I have a personal question to ask you that I don't know about you. What happens when you drink wine and take Ambien?
Well, it's not pretty.
Me, I like to eat raw bacon and hamburger buns, but everybody has.
Bill told me to keep it clean and
then I give you.
And then we started with the BS and the stuff. So I'm just trying to.
We give you openings like this. How can you control yourself?
That's right.
Yeah. And I thought if it was slow, we could bring up abortion and gun control, and maybe really just goose things up.
Just to keep
no,
things going.
No, we don't need to do that.
Well, nice to talk to you, Mike. What's happening with asphalt these days? At this time of year, what happens?
I think here, Tony, in Minnesota, as everyone knows who's driving around, we had quite an old-fashioned winter, and the potholes are, they're getting fixed now, but they've been everywhere, and the asphalt really took a beating.
Yeah.
And as Gene said, if we started at 101, when asphalt's put down, it's sand, oil, and rock. It's put down, it's a pliable surface, unlike, concrete's more of a rigid surface. Mm-hmm. And vehicles can drive on it, and driveways are actually just floating slabs. They aren't pinned down anywhere. And in our climate that we have up here, as pavement starts to age, it gets a little bit more brittle. The sun oxidizes the fines out of the pavement, and if you look at new asphalt, it's smooth to the touch or even to your sight. And after a few years, you can see the rock starting to show up through the asphalt, and it gets a little more bumpy. And that's when the pavement's starting to age, and that's where a maintenance company comes in, like mine, and we try to preserve the pavement, or we do help preserve the pavement because it is a capital investment for the associations.
Well, now, Mike.
Now
with that, there are when people start seeing things dry out and they see that, they know that they need to have a seal coat done on their driveway. But there's two types of seal coating. Talk to us about the two different types, and is one better than the other, or is one a better application for certain circumstances over another?
Sure. And Gene, with all due respect, I think the first thing that might happen before a seal coat is if a crack developed in the pavement, we want to seal the cracks. The main thing you want to do to preserve your pavement is to get the water to flow away, go down to the curb, and go to the storm drain. Mm-hmm. If you're looking for a seal coat, there are a number of kinds of seal coat. Normally a liquid seal coat on the driveways, and then on the roads where every person in the association is using the roads, if they have private roads, of course. There's a chip seal, which is kind of a real messy product that I don't recommend it on townhomes, for instance, because it's just too much rock can be dragged into the house. And what we offer is a Mac mat, which is a microsurface that Target Corporation is rolling out on a national campaign. And we were doing Target stores all throughout the country over the winter. And the only reason I mention that, Gene and Tony, is that a Target store is going to get boatloads more traffic than an association.
Yeah, good point.
They're real happy with it, and we've been using this product in the city of Plymouth on their cul-de-sacs for 7 or 8 years, in Shoreview, Andover, Anoka. So it's becoming more of a popular and more of a clean application than the hot oil.
So is this like an overlayment then, where you're coming in and putting in another couple inches then on top of the existing asphalt?
It's not quite a couple of inches, Gene. It's probably the same thickness as a chip seal. It depends on the size of the rock that goes in there. Mm-hmm. So in some areas it would be a 1/4 inch, and some 3/8. Okay. Because the pavement is, it has some imperfections in it after a period of years, and as the rocks start to show, it'll fill in those voids to make it smooth again.
You put down MacMat at one of our rental properties in Hopkins, and that's just looks beautiful and has still held up really, really well. I guess I didn't fully realize it's a good alternative to chip seal. And you're right about chip seal. It is messy.
Oh, yeah, people don't like the way that's just going to just stick to
their
car.
Tires, their car, their feet,
What's the cost of something like that compared to a chip seal?
Well, it's the next step up. If you look at a liquid seal as being the least costly, a chip seal is the next step up the ladder, and then the MacMat or the micro surface would be the next step. And then the final step, the next step after that would be an overlay, Gene, which you spoke of earlier, where they put 1.5 inches or 2 inches of new asphalt. And finally would be to rip the whole thing out and replace it. Yeah. So it's kind of a hierarchy, if you will, as you're moving up the ladder.
Well,
but I think there's a definite spot for it in the association communities, and we've done it on some, and it's the city of Plymouth, with all the cul-de-sacs they're doing, they just love it because the garbage trucks and the plows don't delaminate this, and it just is such a cleaner process.
All
right.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Well, we've got just a couple minutes more here of time with you this morning. Mike, tell our listeners just a little bit about what are some practical things that they can do to help prolong the useful life of their asphalt, to get more out of it, and then also how can folks get a hold of you as well?
Both good questions, Gene. Anyway. Normally, new concepts or other association managements will do an analysis of their pavement, where someone like myself could come out, walk the site, see if we see anything. Our construction path, as I mentioned a little bit before, is if there's a pothole or maybe a sinking apron, we want to get those fixed first because they allow the most water to permeate the base.
Okay.
Secondly, the cracks. Third, we look at the seal coating, depending on the age and the condition of the asphalt. And every site is a little different. Asphalt's asphalt, but every site, sometimes they have higher water tables, and they're built on, closer to swampy area, or if there's a clay problem or something like that. And, they all have to be addressed individually. So just looking if after it rains, if there's something holding water, well, you've probably got a problem there.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, how can folks also get a hold of you, too, if they'd like to find out more about Minnesota Asphalt and having you do work for them?
Would you say, Gene, my cell phone here, was that the best?
Sure.
Okay, it's 612-366-2444.
All right. Well, thanks so much, folks. That is Mike Peacock, president of Minnesota Asphalt Maintenance. Mike, thanks for being on with us this morning.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it very much.
Okay. See you soon.
Well, when we come back, we've got another story. We'd love to hear from you yet today, and this is the one I was telling you about, folks. Nevada is finally gone off the deep end in micromanaging homeowner associations. You won't believe what it is that the state legislature is now requiring. We'll go over that when we return from Where You Live with Gene and Tony on AM 1280, The Patriot.